All right, welcome back. It's still the news review segment, and we're right here on Breakfast Daily on ChannelOne TV. And the show is interactive. The conversations are interactive. We do want to hear from you. Some people already sent some messages through, and this one says, removing the Chief Justice is a precedent that will become a norm. If it becomes a norm, MPP and NDC has finished us. Ghana is finished. This is coming from Kwekuchum from Boga Town. And I agree with you that it's something that should not be encouraged. It should not become a norm where people just feel like they can petition at any point in time to have the CJ removed. And other officers that have security of tenure, you know, it's important that we maintain the independence of these officers at all times, you know, regardless. It's important. So we'll get into the next story. Let's look at the ECG story and the matters arising from that. Quite a few papers have it. I will take you to, first of all, the News Center newspaper. News Center newspaper has quite a bit of detail. I won't do all of it. And then the Ghanaian Times also has that story as well. So I'll take it from the News Center newspaper. 1,347 ECG containers missing at Tema port. Now, an independent audit has revealed that 1,347 containers belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana are unaccounted for at the Tema port. ECG initially claimed to have 2,491 uncleared containers filled with cables and other essential equipment. However, an investigative audit found only 1,134 containers at the port, leaving a significant shortfall of 1,357 missing containers. Now, audit findings and financial constraints go into that part of the story. The investigation was conducted by a committee chaired by Prof. Innocent Senyo Akwa. It discovered that prior to 2022, ECG had a dedicated fund receiving weekly allocations for clearing shipments. However, due to financial constraints, this practice was discontinued by the ECG board, leading to delays in clearing the containers. Now, despite financial difficulties, ECG awarded contracts to two firms to clear the containers. One of these firms was pre-financed by ECG, but it was discovered that the other company did not have the required license to handle the contract. This raised concerns about procurement violations. Now, the report also revealed that ECG's procurement directorate had been merged with its housing and estate unit. Additionally, the director of procurement had no prior experience in procurement and was not a member of any professional procurement body, further compounding the issues. It's a mess. Let me pause here and let me take your thoughts on this. It's quite a lengthy read, so you can grab this and News Center newspaper. Yeah.
This matter of ECG, I think again, it's just exposing. See, the approach that the new government has taken in running the affairs of this country is something that everybody is commenting and telling them about, like the optics and the settings and all of that is too much. And you see how all of this is going to permeate almost every topic we discuss. So before His Excellency John Mahama was even sworn into office, Honorable John Jinapo granted an interview talking about something with regards to ECG and how about 2,500 containers are stuck at the port. A few weeks after that, subsequently, he went to Parliament, and then the number moved to 3,000. There, he said 3,000 containers were stuck at the port, and he was going along those lines to make his argument. And now, just 26th March, we are told, this 25th March, this was yesterday, we are told that a whopping 1,347 or 57 containers are missing. Just like the guinea fowls flew away. I think the weight of the containers is way more than the guinea fowls, so I cannot imagine.
But the containers didn't get missing yesterday. It didn't get missing in the last couple of months.
How do we know that, David?
But it's an independent report that has been done. It's an independent audit.
Because
an audit doesn't take a couple of days to do.
It takes some time. But how does he know what time the things went missing? Because as I said, the minister in charge of that sector has come out twice to give us the number of containers that were there. First, he said 2005. Then he said 3,000. And now you're telling us 1,347 are missing. We need more information. How did they get missing? Did they fly away? Because there's no justification that when he was telling us they were 3,000, they were in reality 1,134, which it is now. So I think there's a real likelihood and possibility that whatever happened might have happened at this time or during the chaos of the election and all of that. What is clear is that some unscrupulous people have decided to use this as a get-rich-quick scheme, and obviously we have to get to the bottom of it, and they have to be brought to book. But what I want to put on record is that the minister said twice that he had gone there to assess the situation. And after that assessment, he came to tell the people of Ghana in Parliament, the House of Records, that there were 3,000. And now he's coming 2 months after to tell us that there is only 1,134. So how do we assume that this happened before he came to tell us there were 3,000? I don't know if you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Because he was the sector minister in charge. Twice he came out to give us figures on this. He went there with cameras. We saw the pictures of him going to inspect. So we have every right to believe that at that point, when he said they were 2005, they were 2005. So the change is between this time until we get evidence to the contrary. So we just hope this is not another issue of the guinea fowls flying away, because containers are very heavy. I can imagine how many wings you need to put on that to make it fly. It's too early for these kinds of things.
There's an editorial in the same paper that says the recent revelation that 1,347 containers belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana are unaccounted for at the Tema port is alarming. This is not just a case of logistical mishap. It is a significant failure in financial oversight, procurement processes, and institutional accountability. The implications of this scandal extend beyond the ECG, affecting Ghana's broader financial stability and public trust in state institutions. The loss of these containers, estimated to carry cables and other essential electrical equipment, puts ECG in a dire position. Already burdened with financial constraints, the company's inability to clear shipments due to a lack of dedicated funds has further exposed inefficiencies. And the editorial is also quite an interesting read. You can, get in there and read that. But I find it interesting, the reference to the fact that it's beyond a logistical mishap.
No, it's over 1,000 containers.
There are many questions that need to be asked on this matter. It
cannot be that someone slept on the job and these just were redirected somewhere else. Obviously, there's something very fishy going on, and it will require a lot of people, because the port is very secure, I would like to believe. There's a lot going on there. So how do you have such a large number of containers disappearing? It's very alarming. And then I hope the investigations on that matter are quickly done, and they are done professionally in such a way that the true culprits are identified. Because we all don't want a situation where there's a cover-up, because it does happen to come out that this happened between the time the minister went there and today, and so we have to cover up because it's a new government and we don't want bad news. Whatever the situation is, a thorough investigation must be done and all the facts must be brought, since that's the way they want to run things now. I can see a lot of trends of trial by media, and I'm sure we'll go on to that next. So if you are going to do that, we also expect press conference after press conference telling us how it happened.
Is trial by media an accurate way of describing it? I mean, it's updating the people.
Oh, not in this case. I'm sure when we go onto the next thing that.
Well, let's go there right away.
Exactly. I would explain why
we are looking at anti-corruption investigations. Adu-Boahene and his wife still behind bars at EOCO. This is the Council for the Beleaguered Couple speaking, and I will read that from here. The Daily Guide, page 3 of the Daily Guide has that story. It says here, lawyer for the immediate past Director General of National Signals Bureau, NSB, Kobra Adu-Boahene, and his wife, Angela Adu-Boahene, has applied for bail at the High Court, as the two are still in custody of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. Now, Kobra Adu-Boahene is accused of diverting 49 million Ghana cedis of state funds through his private company, owned by him and the wife, under the guise of purchasing a cyber defense system for the country. Now, the couple, according to the Attorney General, have been granted an inquiry bill totaling 200 million Ghana cedis, with sureties to be justified. But their lawyer, Samuel Atachia, in his application filed before a high court in Accra, avers that this was a clear motive by EOCO to incarcerate the couple beyond the 48-hour rule imposing the burdensome and unreasonable conditions on them. Okay, now, they've been granted an inquiry bill
of combined almost 200
200 million Ghana cedis. So pay up, bring your sureties.
No, but see,
sign up,
did you watch the Attorney General's press conference? I'm sure you did. So let's just go into there. You remember where he was asked about how he's, because at that point he hadn't arraigned them before court, and the 48 hours at the point where the Attorney General was having the press conference, the 48 hours had elapsed. He even said on camera that there are ways of going around that, that he could just release them and rearrest them. This is what our Attorney General is telling us, the people of
Which
Ghana.
Is not a strange thing that's happened in this country. It happens. Yeah.
But you are now the first gentleman of the law in this country. So we do respect that you respect the rights of people. Even armed robbers, thieves, murderers, even murderers have rights in this country, and we should not allow whip up public sentiment to the point where lynch him, so you are lynching him. That's not the kind of society that we all want. And I'm sure a lot of people, if anybody has done anything wrong, nobody is saying do not go after them. And I was happy that when he started talking, he said this was not from oral. So basically, the gossip gathering oral. I mean, I'm trying to. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and see how the gossip gathering organization went. But this was done through the normal anti-corruption channels we have. EOCO, I believe.
But you do realize
was
that
able to get this
oral's
information.
Job was simply to present things to the Attorney General for him to do his investigation.
Yes, and I'm very happy that this, not very happy, it was interesting to me that this was not from oral.
Okay.
So one of the first major things that this government thinks they have was through the normal channels.
Okay.
And that was the point that we were making at that point. You have so many anti-corruption agencies. Why do you get...
Okay. Please wrap up your thoughts.
So we'll move on from there. Now to the matter of this case. We've been in this country, you know, when I started, I said we are just watching the same movie, different scenes at different points in time, because we've seen this before. About 30 appointees of President Kufuor were arrested and put before court. We don't know what happened with that. No, but it didn't go anywhere. We've seen this Attorney General, who the first thing he did when he stepped into office was to summarily dismiss cases against almost all NDC
So are you saying that
appointments.
49 million is diverted and we shouldn't talk about it?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But I'm saying that as the first gentleman of the law in Ghana, you are supposed to carry us around. You are supposed to have credibility, right? And so if you come into office, and this is something I said when he did that you are shooting yourself in the foot before you start. Because what it looks like is that you've let the $200 million Sagleme problem, you've let it go because it's involved an NDC person to chase $7 million.
Okay.
How is that right?
Okay.
If somebody has done anything wrong,
Please wrap it up.
of course, we do expect that justice, people are brought to book. Corruption is not something we all encourage, and we in the MPP have always said that that is not what we're about. And so anybody in our ranks who has done anything should be taken through the law
process.
Properly.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that you keep them in custody beyond 48 hours.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that Honorable Atachia, regards to him this morning, is trying to see his client, and then you expect an officer of EOCO to be there listening, which is awesome. Even a child knows that you don't do that. Okay. We expect the rights of people to be respected.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. We've had an interesting conversation this morning. I appreciate your time, and even though we're alone, we were able to vibrantly have a interesting
Nice
conversation
discussion,
this
yeah.
morning. All right, so I was joined this
Hope
morning.
always fine.
We do pray that she's doing well. We've been on this set with Dr. Ekwia Amoakon. She speaks for the MPP as a communication team member. We're going to take a quick break, and when we're back, it's back to your Village Food Festival conversations. Lots of good food to be enjoyed in the studio. I'm personally going to be enjoying some of that. And then we'll have the Heritage on Air series as well later. We'll be right back after this break.